All right, so when you're on an install, and the first thing you want to check your new hydraulic power unit is you want to look down here at this sight gauge, and you want to make sure that there's hydraulic oil all the way up to the top level. If you don't have any oil in there, make sure you put hydraulic oil in there. Next thing you want to check is you want to confirm building power versus power unit power. Now, these are three-phase units, so you can have three different phases of three-phase power, which is 208, 230, 460, which this motor is interchangeable for all of it. This panel here is set up for 230, so the thing that we had to do to this motor was we wired the motor head correctly to 230, and there's a sticker right here that tells you low voltage, high voltage. The other thing you got to do is after you do the motor, you got to come over to the transformer, and you got to set the transformer for the high voltage or the low voltage. And then the last thing you got to do is you got to set the overloads down here for the correct amperage per the motor. Now, where you get that information is you would look down here at the tag. There's a line that says volts, and then there's a line that says amps. All right, now the two lines that you're looking for your voltage and your amperage are right here. This is your volts, 230, 460. This is also usable at 208, but they put it down here where it says usable at 208 at 25 amps. So what you're going to follow when you adjust your amperage per your voltage is if you're going for 230 volts, your amperage would be 24 amps. If you're 460 volts, your amperage would be 12 amps. This tag here is showing you how to wire your low voltage or your high voltage on the motor. The 1 through 9 numbers on here are these little small wires that come with the motor. The 1, 2, and 3 lines, numbers that are down here on the bottom, are actually the motor lines that are coming from your motor starter. And what this is saying is line 3 gets connected with line 9, line 2 and 8, line 1 and 7, and then they're going to go with each line there. Now just make sure when you rewire this, and if you touch anything in here, make sure that the three-phase power is off and there's no electricity in this panel. To confirm if your transformer is wired correctly, they put the schematic up in there where it's really hard to see for a technician. So what we did is, on the electrical schematic, we put the transformer and how it's supposed to be laid out for different voltages, which is usually pasted right there, the electrical schematic, for easy access. But in this case, you got numbers on the side that H4, H3, H2, and H1. This right here tells me that H4 is 0, which that wire never moves. Now, if you want to move, set this transformer for 208, it would be H4 and H3. And when I say that, I mean this wire here and this wire here would go to H4 and H3. If I want to go to high voltage, then I would take that wire that's on number 4 and I would move it up to H1, and that would convert it over to low voltage to high voltage. And the final thing that you have to adjust when you're swapping your voltage over from high to low or low to high is you have to adjust the overloads that's down here. There's a little dial, and this one here is rated from 9 to 45 amps, which is plenty for a 10 horsepower motor. And where you would get that number from is over here on the motor plate, where it says your amperage versus your voltage. If you're, in this case, voltage is 208, amperage on there says about 27 amps, so we dial this into about 27 amps.